Hey guys, Tales of Turam here. We're here today with another session 0. This one is probably going to be the last one, I think. I don't know if anybody else hasn't gotten theirs. Gash, Ruby hasn't gotten theirs, but I don't know if I want to do a session 0 with them. Anyways, so yeah, we're here today with Pedrick or Thog or whatever you want to call yourself.
Dog works.
Alright. If you'd like to say hi to the camera or something.
What's up?
Alright. We're here today to do his session 0. He's playing a character from Rexumi, so that is where we will be starting. I made a few incidental lore calls because I had forgotten the lore and I hadn't been looking it up recently. Um, in a previous session 0, Riverton has only had the secondary wall on the outside of it for about 5 years, not 8 to 10, like I said. That was my bad. Anyways, would you? Is there anything else you want to say before we start, dog?
I think I'm all good. In a
Okay.
few words.
Are you sure about that? Anyways, let's try. So we begin. As we pull down, we find ourselves amongst the clouds. As we push through the veil, we find ourselves. Let me get some music going, actually, because I like it when I can hear music and think.
I
Um,
agree.
music. All right. So, is it playing? There you go. I think, right?
I'm not hearing it.
Turn it all the way up then.
Oh yeah, I might have it turned up.
No, it's not on. What the hell, bro? Jesus Christ, man. No, it's not picking up in my mic either. What the hell, man? What is wrong with... You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna open it up on YouTube. You can listen to music if you want on YouTube too. I'm just trying to open up. What the hell? Why am I lagging so badly? It's not even due to OBS this time. I don't even need the North Coriander tab open. Alright. Pretty loud. Let me turn that down a bit. There we go. That's still pretty loud. There we go. So, Turam. A year has passed. Well, not a year, but a month has passed since the complete celestial solstice. We find ourselves descending through the clouds as the last bit of technicolor energy swirls through the skies and space and seems to shift and disappear. We find ourselves piercing this veil to the bottom, where we can see ourselves fall and drop to a land of sand and blood. I don't know if I've ever read for you the giraffe intro. Have I? I think I did.
I'm not sure.
Alright, let me
Probably.
open it. I probably have. We find ourselves looking towards a nice little desert continent, one known as Duran. Duran, also known as the ancestral homeland of all humans that reside within the world of Turam. A continent of scorching sands and deadly creatures, littered with relics of many ages long past and forgotten. As the sands burn with promise and heat, so too do the hearts and souls of its inhabitants, whom do not merely survive this desolate landscape, but conquer it. I don't know why I can say conquer. The people of Darath are known for their warrior-like spirits and their pronounced culture. They are seen as a prideful people to the point where it can become their downfall, if not kept in check. Many regale the legendary tales and epics of the heroes of Darath, as well as the great warriors and generals who have carved their path throughout the dry dunes to their immortality through stories told in song and dance. This is not to Darath alone, but to the entire world. Since the end of the Second God Wars, Darath has seen the rise and fall of many empires. It has seen many victors and many defeated, many more defeated. Having seen many crusades, eras of blood and sand. The lands of Darath are filled with many city-states of previous kingdoms, absorbed into the Empire, who have been given control to govern their own lands. As such, not all cities carry the same laws, but some have very similar codes of conduct and run upon a caste-based system that sees the rich remain in power, while those born of low blood and poor rarely have a say in what happens. This system leads to many of the nobility becoming demons in human form, committing atrocities while not being punished. However, that is not to say that there are not any good nobles within the Empire who wish to see its prosperity, whether they be of noble birth or have worked their way up. Those that brave these harsh lands are the warriors who wish to see their names in history, the merchants who wish to make an abundant profit by selling what cannot be bought in the sands alongside the Grey-Wing Alliance, or the performers who seek new culture and stories to spin in their own little ways. No matter what brings a person to these lands, whether it be by birth or by choice, one thing is for certain: nothing is assured to anyone in these lands, and fortune will favor the bold. That is a synopsis of Darath. A month has passed since the complete celestial solstice, and the current Empire date is, let me go ahead and find it in the lore channel, actually. Current Empire date would happen to be the first month, 1/30/36, the first month, the last day of the month of the 36th year of the Second Era, 90th day of winter, and the moon that is currently out is the white, which is at its precipice. The current world dates, post-Second God Wars, the first month, the 30th day, year 317,764, 37th year of the Golden Renaissance, 3rd year of war. As we begin to descend and push past the sands, we pass by a few animals that seem to be hunting each other from hunting or scavenging. We pass by a circle of birds hovering over a dead corpse. We continue through, we see a few carts that seem to be passing by upon a hill not too far away as we continue to head eastwards and north just a bit, and more, and more, and eventually we find ourselves, as the dust settles, staring at a mile-tall ravine gorge that pops out of the desert sands itself and holds a glimmering, almost starscape of lights upon a city a mile high in the sky, 5 to 12 miles wide. It's unknown the exact measurements. No one really measures it. But it goes from sea to sea of this small indent of the land. This is the walled city Rexumi, that which is known as the Shield of the Empire, and which blocks access to the eastern wastes of said empire. Not but 2 weeks' travel from Riverton, not but about 5 days to 7 days travel from Trenta. Trentra? I don't know the actual pronunciation at the moment. This city, be it a military testing ground or the casinos or even the churches or brothels he wishes to enjoy, most people can find pleasures of the flesh, mind, or the soul. As we push ourselves to the main gate, we begin to switch back up and forth, up to the top of Rexumi, where the main city is held. We begin to push through the cobbled streets as the many lights and sounds begin to flash and ding. We hear ding 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 ding, come one, come all, the hustle and bustle of the city, even though it is but sunlight is just coming up. We can, well, it's not all the way here yet. It's getting to sunrise. But the city is alive through the nights. We see drunken individuals stammering across the ground. These large carts that seem to pedal through the town, giving rides to anybody who wishes for a small fee. We see a few individuals dressed in fancy clothing walking the streets, while we see on the opposite side of the street these individuals dressed in these peacock-like dresses, but very skimpy. As people walk up, you see a mage pays a gold and takes a picture or taps his staff, which gives a flash as he walks away, as they brush his back and hoot and holler. We see a few individuals get thrown out of the casinos at the moment, as it seems whatever happened in there, they've lost a lot of coin. As we continue to push and push, we push towards one of the more fancy blocks where no casinos or brothels or churches can be really seen, but this gated community. As we push through it, we can see a house that sits upon a large hill at the very tip of it. This is the Lord's house, the Lord of Rexumi, the one who is in charge of even those of the district managers of Rexumi for this large city. As we push up and up and up, we enter into the house as the two doors open up. As we see an individual affixing his coat and walking out with a top hat on. This is the Lord of Rexumi, but he's out on his merry way at the moment. As we continue out into the house, we continue through the halls. I'll say this. Thug, where would your character be at the moment? Where would their laboratory be stationed, is what I'm asking.
Their laboratory is probably just a big private room in some wing of the house that other people don't really tend to. It's probably in a dusty hallway that the cleaning staff leave alone.
So, as you continue to push down a few of these halls and eventually down a small spiraling cast iron staircase, you push into the lower halls of this manor, where it becomes more apparent that less care is taken in these places, less priceless artifacts and more wares that can be bought at auction houses are seen scattered upon the many different bust stations or the walls of this hall. The paper on the wallpaper is seemingly tearing a bit, and the carpet is stained with many different liquids. As we continue to push through to these two large metal doors that seem to have no visible lock to them. As we push through these doors, push under the doors as we follow our rat, and enter into the laboratory of your character. Thug, please describe your character's laboratory to us, and what the scene would look like.
So, this room is much better taken care of than the rest of this wing of the house. It's in almost pristine condition. And there's metal fixtures everywhere. In terms of the furniture, almost all the furniture is made out of iron or steel, besides the chairs. And in the middle of the room, there's just 3 operating tables meant for living things, basically, or dead things, mostly dead things. And there's all sorts of strange jars and tools hanging from the wall, or on shelves and hanging from the walls.
Okay.
The way the room is organized is almost, well, it's very obviously OCD. It's clean beyond the point that it needs to be.
Okay. And what sounds, what smells, what tastes can we pick up from the air at the moment? As I assume your character would be working.
There's always a strong scent of formaldehyde in the air. That's the most present one. But at other times, there's a sense of decaying flesh or freshly dead flesh. That's as far as the smells typically go. And often there's sounds of metal tools being set on metal trays, bone being sawed through, that sort of thing.
Okay. Any taste? Oh wait, you already went over taste, didn't you?
There's a strong taste of copper in the air usually.
So, as you can hear, a little bit of a jostle of, and then more sounds beginning to push through. Would you get a? Does this feel more like a research or more of a medical laboratory? Would you say?
This is more of a research laboratory. There's not typically patients here.
So, as you can hear these sounds from within the laboratory itself, we pull and push as we see within a. If you'd like to describe what your character is wearing at the moment, because remember you're in the middle of doing extracurricular activities at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free. As we see your back, we see you from a back vantage point as a rat looks up at you.
Currently, she is just wearing sort of a white dress shirt with the sleeves rolled way up and pinned so they won't roll back down. And her vest is hanging from a coat rack, and she's not really wearing any of her accessories, pretty much just bare minimum. And she also wears white leather gloves.
What kind of research are you doing right now? I'll ask.
Currently, she is actually researching how flesh decays, basically the whole process of it decaying, and not just flesh, but all tissues, including bone. Because she is sort of seeking a method of immortality that doesn't involve magic, or at least not what people usually consider magic.
So, as you continuously scribble notes down and you begin to, I meant currently what your character is doing, but okay.
Currently,
yeah.
Well, I can describe what she's currently doing as well. She's she sawed a bone in half to get a cross section of the marrow and the bone, and see progress that has happened with this body that she's been working with, taking note of that.
As you saw the bone in half and start to scribble down some notes, make me a medicine check.
Yes. Is a 15.
15. As you look towards the bone, you can see that the bone's consistency has not held up as well. It seems that the substance you know is angel dust, which has been rampant in the Empire until but a year ago when the Jagobretian Alliance has had a crackdown on whatever cities it was part of for drugs. This drug is very dangerous and is illegal, but it was very rampant. Looking at it, it seems to not only affect the minds and the behavior of a person, it also affects the bone density of a person. But that may just be something that has happened due to previous medical knowledge of the individual, which you have no access to.
Mm-hmm.
To this point, as you're looking at this, you hear the squeak of the rat behind you. Take one of your needles off the desk and fling it behind you as you watch as the rat is just pinned to the floor. As you finish scribbling up your notes, and you turn around, if you would now like to describe your character in full.
So, Celine Vassell is a fairly average height woman, standing around 5'3", and she doesn't have a particularly noble appearance about her, at least not physically. Her face is bony and pointed, like many nobles, but there's no particularly attractive details. In fact, she even has a few scars on her face that are all just of her own doing, accidents in the lab. And she has, surprisingly, considering how clean everything else around her is, her hair seems to be kind of greasy and unwashed. Not terribly dirty, but probably been a few days.
As you take your glove off and just put it to the side, you rub your hand through your hair to get it out of your face a bit. Continue your description.
And she carries herself basically like a portrait. She stands up perfectly straight, and every move she makes is very articulated. It's almost as if she choreographs her walk.
So, as you stand there and look towards the rat you've just slain with a single, it's not even the entire syringe, it's just the needle to it.
Mm-hmm.
You look towards it, and as you begin to take a step forward towards it, you look to your left for a second, towards your notes, and you see a paper that you had been looking at quite recently, that had been brought to attention by your father, who had mentioned that you needed to earn some money due to you having been spending your allowances quite frivolously. I can't say the word.
Frivolously?
Frivolously. I can't say it. I don't know why. But frivolously, without care and concern, and to kind of teach you a bit of importance of money, he has kind of cut you off recently, having given you an option to make money if you wish to. As you look down to the paper, you see the job which you have recently accepted. Not usually a job you would help with research. You don't like to help others research as much, probably. But as you were looking at it originally, what piqued your interest was the mention of petrification. The warning of it listed on the this would be a tabloid. Yeah, it would be a piece of a newspaper that your father ripped out for you.
She would walk over and pick it up, kind of ignoring the rat at this point, getting distracted by her thoughts. And are there more details on it?
I'll say you investigating into it would have gone to a few individuals and asked. You do know that in a few hours, the cart that is supposed to come pick up those that have been assigned to this endeavor will be departing, and you have. I'll actually say this: has your character decided to partake in it or not? I will say, I can make a story up here about your character if you want me to, but I would rather hear your decision if your character would have partaken in it or would try to be bootlegging it.
Well, because of her interest, basically just because of curiosity, she would participate in it. She doesn't really care about what her father told her. It has nothing to do with the decision. She just thought it might be interesting.
So, as you continue to think back on it, you were given a bit of money to buy some of the supplies you need, and you've already sent those ahead of schedule with a few people. You do know that in a few hours' time you will need to leave and get to the outer gates, the camel stables, to join in the sled with a few other individuals before you get going. As you're thinking about this, it also procs to your mind of an individual who was going to join the team as well, but didn't fare too well, and let's just say your medical knowledge failed to help him in whatever he may have afflicted as you slowly look back to the table.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, seeing that this is ready, that she needs to be getting ready, reminding herself of it, she will seal up her tissue sample she took from the bone,
Mm-hmm.
return the body to its storage, and because everything must be clean, she'll pick up the rat, clean up the blood, and toss it in. Probably, I imagine her lab has some sort of incinerator.
You're wearing gloves, right?
Yes, she has one gloved hand that she would use to pick up the rat.
Okay. As you go to reach towards the rat, make me a perception check.
Perception. 21.
21. As you look towards the rat, there's bubbling of blood just because the oxygen escaping from its lung, which you seem to have pierced very, very deftly. But as you look at it, before you even touch it, you pull your hand back as your I assume you have medicine proficiency, right?
Yes.
As your medical knowledge does proc a danger to this rat, as you see splotches on the inside and outside of his body. You see scarred tissue around the lung, which you can barely see at this point. And if you'd like to make a medicine check, please.
22.
These are marks of a disease carrier.
Yeah.
And as you look at it, unless you want to make another perception check, you can't, you'd have to touch this thing and move it around to try and make any other discernings about it. But it just is strange that, because you know that particularly diseases, STDs, and stuff like that are very kept under eye here in Rexumi. Maybe this is just a coincidence and maybe one rat seems to be carrying disease here. But the fact that it made it into your lab is worrying.
Yeah. Well, finding this, she would immediately try to dispose of it, get it out of there as quickly as possible.
Okay.
And she would go and find some very pure alcohol and disinfect anything the rat might have touched.
Okay. So, as you begin to do so, you take the next hour or two to disinfect your lab, hopefully.
Hopefully.
And you start to walk out, and you're unsure how much it may have touched within your decrepit and falling apart hallway. The hallway isn't straight, by the way. The hallway seems like it has roots, or an earthquake has shifted it. So parts of the hallway are the tiles that make up the flooring is pushed up in some areas. So it's not a straight hallway, but you get the feeling it probably didn't get in from above ground, but probably through this hallway.
Mm-hmm. Well, considering that she doesn't really have time to clean this, so she'll walk nervously through the hallway, sort of rolling her knuckles and looking around, very obviously uncomfortable with the fact that there's been a diseased animal in there.
Okay. What's your passive perception?
Passive is 22, which is observant.
So as you begin to walk and walk, you smell decaying flesh, which is strange because it's not in your laboratory. And you turn to the right and you see a small hole in the wall. and you realize it's probably where the rat got it. If not through one of those other parts that are up and moved. But you smell it coming from in there.
I think, yeah, she's gonna have to inspect it. She'll return and get her gloves.
Okay.
And I guess take a reach in there once she has them.
As you reach
Feel around.
into the wall, you do feel what seems to be, as you pull them out, rat feces. And you can feel like an area where the hole continues to go down, but it's not big enough. Like it goes too far down for your arm to reach, and the original hole, isn't big enough for your body.
Okay. And does she, if she reaches around and sort of feels around, is there anything in there?
No, you get the
Okay.
feeling that the flesh decay that you're smelling are further back, and you can't reach it.
Okay.
You're not even sure
Um,
if it's within a few feet or if it's all like just a bad stench.
Okay. Well then, for now, she will remove her gloves and her vest, and she'll just kind of shove the vest in the hole to try to plug it.
Okay.
And
The smell does subside after a few minutes.
then she will go and begin getting prepared for travels.
So you begin to make sure your refrigeration is set and you have all the magical runes on properly. You begin to do everything meticulously. And eventually, the time comes for you to begin to head towards the main gate.
And at that point, she would get changed into her full usual noble attire.
Okay.
Put her pocket watch in her pocket.
As you begin to head up the stairs, you pass by a few maids and butlers that are speaking to each other. They give you nods and bows as you walk past. Same roll, okay. You walk past and you see one of them is sweating a bit, but doesn't really proc any information for you as you continue to move past. You continue. You eventually get to the top door, and you do see the butler, Jeeves, but not the main, like the head butler, but not the head maid. Who there is a head butler and a head maid. The head maid is Jeanette, and she rarely ever misses work days. Jeeves looks to you, this big old Goliath man with a pencil mustache and a small goatee. What's your character's name? Celine?
Yes.
Celine, it is good to see that you are about to depart for your work. It makes... Your father said he was proud that you had found a job, I guess you could say.
Did he? I think he's just happy to have more money.
Possibly, but that is not for me to decide. I'm just telling you what he said. Well done. You look fit, you look fine. Do the family proud. Have a good time.
I think I'll do myself proud, and maybe you.
He brushes a few bits of dust off your shoulders. Begins to fix your undershirt a bit because it's a little bit wrinkled up. Now we can't have you going out unacceptable like this. Now then, get going. You have but an hour before before the cart pulls off, right?
Yes, I'll be there on time. You know me, Jeeves.
Of course. Well then, be off now. And he shoos you out.
And she sets off at a brisk pace.
As you begin to walk through the town, you pass by a human man that seems to be lost and confused, and you just walk by him as he's holding a letter, looking around, can't figure out where to go. You continue past, and eventually you go down the switchback road and get to the main entrance. to the city. And as you get in line, you look and you see the line's going to take you a while to get out. Um, but you do see one of the guards who knows you, and he looks. Ah, Sully, your fee's already been paid for your father. Go. No need to worry. We know who you are. As they usher you past them a bit.
And she just gives them a nod, not really acknowledging them past that.
Alright. As you exit out the door, you begin to make your way to the left of the main entranceway, as like you're looking out at, of course. As you see the large desert that seems to have a few trees and a few bits of bushes and plants, and it seems to have very fertile. I would say you can just realize that the area of Ichles is, well, not Ichles, Ophthothemos is very fertile land specifically. Well, not actually no, it wouldn't be fertile. That would be I believe Ichles. I don't know, but yeah, you do see what seems to be a few trees, grasses that you can see off in the distance. As you continue, it's not so. What I'm trying to say is the area that Rexumi is in, Riverton is in, all that area is. Are they in the same place? Let me check, because I may be being stupid here. Maps of Turam. They are. It is more kind of dried grass and hilly terrain, a little bit flat in most areas, but it is a very abundant desert, to be precise. So, as you begin to head left and see these sights, you eventually get to the camel, what is it called? Camel stables. And of course. Give me a second, I guess. Sorry, every time I try to do D&D for even 5 minutes, someone has to fucking call me. Anyways, you do see in the distance what seems to be a 30-foot long carriage of sorts. I would say carriage, but it's not really carriage. It seems to be in the shape of a like genie's lamp almost. It seems to have a camel at the front pulling it, and a man that's just draped in darkened desert garbs. You can't really see any details about him. With a few what seems to like be a dome of silks, felts, carpets, and different cloths, just creating this domed-like shape above it, covering the entire carts to an extent. And you recognize this sled because of the two rails at the bottom that are almost like triangles that are upside down, that slide through the desert. This sled is the one that you are supposed to be getting into.
Does the man say anything, or?
Well, as you begin to approach it, he just looks towards you, and you can see this dark void where his eyes are. And you can just see these two red glows, and he just points towards the carriage as if to say, "Hop on in."
Okay.
You can see a few individuals have already hopped into the carriage as well. As you were approaching it, of course.
The only reason I ask is because unless he engages with her, she will go right in the carriage.
Yeah. So, as you pull a few of these fabrics back and hop into the carriage, you see what seems to be the inside of the carriage is, it smells like seawater almost, mixed with a, almost like, not a bad BO, but like a good sweat after a nice workout. A nice breeze, pulling it into your nose almost. It smells like sea air kind of too at the same time. So it smells salty. But as you step in, it doesn't really overpower your senses. And as you step in, you see that the inside of this area has not benches, like wooden benches like you would think it would. The inside has these nice Arabic and Egyptian kind of styled curved couches that take up the exterior of this entire place almost, with many pillows and fabrics laid across them, many silks specifically. And in the center is a single table that seems to lift up just above the couches, and there is a lamp placed upon it. A lantern, sorry, not lamp. With, oh gosh, I don't know why, I just swallowed my spit and started choking. Within the lantern, is this beautiful amorphous blob of like energy that seems to be a light source almost. It's made of blue and green energy, and it seems to just be flowing almost like a wave inside this lantern, and it seems to be lighting up the area around it at the moment. The area inside this place is nice and cool at the moment, but as you step in, you can feel the body heat is kept in this compartment very easily. So, exercising or doing a lot of movement is going to cause a bit of heat.
As she steps in the carriage, she would then remove her cloak and fold it up if it's going to be warm.
So as you remove your cloak and sit down, you see a few individuals that seem to be darker-skinned humans, and it seem to be researchers. They have glasses, or these shawls, or they seem to have books and paperwork, and they seem to be talking in a language you don't speak, but you do know the language of the Durat, which are the tribesmen of Durath, which is called Durat. That is the literal language. As you're hearing them speak, they go, "Al-Gufan ilofa I tusa no Al-Gufani," and he like points at a part of the notebook. One of them looks towards you. "Ah, you're finally here. Now we're just waiting for 2 more. How long do we?" And he looks towards his wrist. "What am I doing? What's that?" "We should be leaving soon, but there should be 2 more, right?" And he looks towards another one. "Yeah, there should be 2. Where are they? I don't know." "Well, I mean, we're leaving in a few minutes. If they're not here, we're going to take off without them, aren't we?" "Yeah, we are." "Alright, well, get yourselves settled down. We're going to be leaving in a few minutes."
You said there's 2 missing?
Yeah, it seems 2 people are missing, and you know where one of them is out of character.
Okay.
Yeah, you may have recently.
Yeah. I think I caught on to that.
Yeah, I told you a while ago.
She would look over and say, "Well, one of them fell ill.
Ah. Well,
The other I can't speak for."
let's just wait for a few more minutes. Is there anything else you would like to do in the next few minutes before your character begins to depart?
She would probably keep glancing over at the 2 tribesmen and just sort of looking them over in a subtle way, and
So the
also
tribesmen
keep
have like this milk chocolate dark skin, and they have these beautiful tattoos that seem to be tribal in nature. Their hair is very light in color, white or blonde even, some of them. Some of them have darker hair, but that's rare, and most of them wear dreadlocks, but these ones are flowing hair, like unkempt hair, but it's not pulled into dreadlocks like some of them do. And they do have very nice eyes. They have yellow or red eyes. But
okay. She will make note of all of those things, and also continuously glance.
They stand like a head or foot taller than you. Like the smallest of a Durat is like 6'2" maybe, and that's like on the midget, not on the midget side, but like the small, like short side for them. They can get up to like 8 feet tall.
She's mostly interested because they're people she hasn't really researched before,
Yes.
and they could have new knowledge.
Mind you, there's like 15 people in this carriage. Well, not 15, but
yes.
like 7. So, anyways, continue.
And as she glances back at them, she glances back and forth between them and her pocket watch as she's keeping track of the time. She's impatient, basically.
Eventually, the time does end, and directly on the dot, you begin to feel the cart just like move. Well, it looks like the 2 of them will not be making it, so they'll be having to pay back the amount of resources. Well then, it's great to meet you, Miss...
Lady Celine.
Ah, Lady Celine. Well then, the name is Jihad.
Jihad.
Hard,
And you 2 are...
There's an R in there, but I'm not good at pronouncing them.
And you 2 are... tribesmen, yes, Durat?
We given up the tribesman life a while ago. And the other one goes, don't listen to him. We still live by their traditions, but we just do not believe in isolation like the rest of them. We believe it is a great thing to come together and share cultural experiences and many things like that. We believe that to truly discover what it means to be human is to live and aid one another, rather than keep to yourself and keep many secrets, you know?
It's isolation is nice when you want your thoughts to yourself, but it definitely prevents the spread of knowledge, which is a shame.
I could not agree more, Lady Celine. Anyways, it is a pleasure to meet you. Yes, we are tribesmen. We come from Dura, specifically one of the bigger tribes near the ancient libraries. But you know, it is not so peaceful when you live in a tribesman, a hierarchical structure that relies on strength, and all you are is very keen in the mind rather than the body. You know, it is not a good thing to be part of those people when that is the case.
Hmm. I suppose I would not do well.
No, you wouldn't. You look too skinny. You look like one of the bean sprouts we grow. You look like one of the ones that we eat.
I too have eaten many bean sprouts.
Good. They're good for
And
sustenance.
it was a figure of speech, but
Ah. So what were you gonna say? Sorry. I don't know why I have so much fun playing that character with this character now, and it's just one I made up on the spot.
well, do you two have any interesting professions, or do you just travel with this caravan?
Well, you see, this is Jahard speaking, like the shorter one, but he has like the bulbous nose and like the more fatter jawline than the other one. You see, we are researchers. We are historians. We work for the Mages College within the capital city. Though we can't go back recently because it's a war zone, you know. But we have been recently tasked before this whole ordeal with the Wailing Valley. You know, we were tasked with going to the dig site a few years back now that existed near Rue Village because of the long ancient discovered city they had dug up. You know, and then when the tower appeared there out of nowhere. That was a big one. We got a lot of money from that too, huh? And you see the big one goes, yes, Jihad, we did. I can't get his voice back, sorry. Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, Jihad, that was fun, wasn't it? We got to explore the tower a bit.
When they bring up the mention of the money, she sort of just gives them a weird glance, not really seeming that interested in that part of it. And then she speaks up to Jahar specifically
Mm-hmm.
and says, well, I too am a researcher, and I'm seeking admission to the college, actually. Though I wouldn't exactly call myself magically adept. Though my research might be of value to.
Well, maybe not by the masses, but by some of the higher ups. Maybe. What are you researching? Maybe I could tell you more.
For now, we'll call it research of the flesh, of all kinds. How it grows, how it decays, how we might take advantage of those things and those processes.
Necromancy, I see. Not a very favored school of magic nowadays, because of, you know, the Great Lich and whatnot in Fafnir. But...
No, not necromancy.
Oh, you mean more
something
medical.
Entirely different.
You mean more medical, my bad. I was misunderstanding you there. Interesting. Maybe there would be someone more interested there. Maybe the Necromancer's branch, yes.
Perhaps I can find a way to extend life merely through means of the flesh.
Possibly, that seems interesting. Well, I'll have to exchange notes with you afterwards. See what I can give you for you to give me some. I'll help you. You know what? After this job, why don't we exchange notes and I'll help you out with what I can. And you see the big one, Gerard, don't we need to go back? I don't know why I went to Arnold voice there. Ah, Gerard, we need to continue to look at our notes, friend. Ah, come on. It's fine, we can talk now. No. I can't switch between the voices quickly. I'm sorry, give me a second. No, it's not good. We need to continue to research our notes here. Leave the poor woman alone. Alright, well, you have a wonderful trip. And he starts to go back in.
I could always aid in the research of your notes.
Make me a persuasion check.
It's a good thing that I spec into that a lot. I say as I roll a 13.
He looks at you. Ah, I don't think so. These are very specific notes. We haven't even gotten them in order yet. We need to get them in order before we make it to the Wailing Gorge.
Well, I'd be willing to share some of my research, much
Sorry.
of which is the same nature.
Sorry, we can't have anything go missing, you know. And I'm not saying you'll steal it. I'm just saying it may fall out and we may not be able to find it. Prefer to keep it between me and my brother here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, enjoy the trip. Nice comfy chairs. Anyways, brother, Gwen, Is, Van, Elon. And you could hear, like, the nasally kind of strange voice of this Durant changes to this, like, very soft, well-spoken tone that's not as nasally when he turns back to his native language. It's like when a German or someone else who doesn't speak English speaks English.
Okay.
Anyways, so as the sled begins to continue to move, eventually you get a little bit bored and you just stare out at the desert for a second as you pull your head out. After maybe a minute or two, maybe a few minutes travel, you see what seems to be an individual running towards the carts as it's already far off from the walls of Rexumi. He hops onto this, like, magical sailboat that seems to levitate above the sand and begins to very fastly chase after the sled you're on. You watch for a minute as the sled begins to nosedive forward, then hits a large bump, goes backwards. You see him nearly fall off, grab on, get it back into position. But then you see the bump that he hit suddenly raises up from the sand as this, like, 500-foot tall sandworm begins to chase him. And as it's getting close to swallowing his whole ship, you just see him turn around, point at it, and the entire sandworm just disappears. Eventually, the sand sled isn't as fast, mind you. Continue.
She is going to quickly pull out some paper and sketch that scene, just for her memory. Sketch the giant worm and the strange man on the sled.
Okay, no problem. You do so, and you're on what we call the vehicle you're on is a sand sled, or sand strider. You see this small. It's like a one thing. It's like a one-masted sailed ship, and it's gliding a foot or so above the sand without anything on the sand itself, like levitating, and eventually, God damn it, motherfucker! I had like fucking mucus stuck in my throat. God damn. It eventually does catch up with the sand strider because it is much faster. It's like double the speed of it. It doesn't get pulled by a camel. As it catches up, you see what seems to be a human. The human that you saw was lost in the city not but a few hours earlier. Pulls up next to the carriage and goes, hey, looks like I made it. Sorry I'm late. You got room in the carriage?
And without even saying anything, Celine will just stand up and open is it a door that just like a normal door that it has?
It's literally just like as I said, silks, felts, carpets, cloth that seems to be pulled tight in a dome top. Like you can see physical rugs that have just been placed on this dome, and you could just pull up parts of it and let somebody in if you wanted to.
Okay, so she'll do that. She'll hold it aside from him and actually even reach out a hand in case he needs balance.
All right. I heard that one of you will be guiding my sand glider here, correct? And you hear, "Oh yeah, that'll be me." As you see, Jahard stands up. Well, it was nice meeting you, Lady Celine. I'm going to go ahead and start gliding upon the sand. Anyways, my friend, you must be. And he takes out his notes and looks really quickly because I'm gonna look at that. You must be Devorin. I am. Well, better late than never. Anyways, hop on in. I'm gonna get on your ship now. And he jumps onto the ship, and this man named Devorin jumps in. Sorry for being late. I'm here now. Oh, this place is nice. And he like stretches a bit, and he manages to sit down. This human, by the way, if you want to look, is Gesh's character.
Okay.
As he sits down, he goes, "Nice digs. Anyways, nice to meet you. I'm gonna get some shut-eye. I'm kind of tired." And he immediately falls asleep. Is there anything else Celine would like to do before we end the session here?
She is going to pull out a chess set and begin playing, or whatever the equivalent is in your setting, and begin playing it with herself.
It's chess.
Okay, she'll play chess by herself,
Right.
unless someone joins her.
As we begin to play chess, eventually our bird's eye view pulls out from the carriage and up into the sky, up past the clouds once again, as the view of the land below disappears. And that, my friends, is where we end the session.